Unless there's a tutorial prompt that tells you to build a mind arc, then don't build a mind arc.
We're entering our flop era.
Shit's bleak out here. All right.
18 plus, who wants to get milked?
It's kind of quality we have here. Debate this.
I need the edge. I need what the raw, unfiltered internet can bring you.
This is probably only going to be the third or fourth dumbest thing I've said today.
That's for nobody.
Just out there raw dogging the internet.
Way more hog than I expected.
It's about as much hog as I anticipated.
This is going to be one of those episodes, isn't it?
Here comes the cow. Here comes the cow.
All right, let's get this over with so we can play Magic. Hello and welcome to Debate This, the show where no one is right, but someone is definitely wrong. In this show, we take time out of our busy adult lives to talk about comic books, video games, and how I've entered my sandbox era. That's it. I'm in my sandbox era.
I'm happy for you.
Pooping in sandboxes like a cat?
I'm pooping in sandboxes like a cat. Magic the Gathering Arena has rewired my brain so violently that I'm pooping in sandboxes like a cat. And also that now I just want to take I'm just going to take sandbox games and Overwatch for the rest of the year. Thanks.
Yeah,
I've been meaning to group up with you. We should play Overwatch soon.
We should probably play Overwatch.
You'll be back.
Sandbox games. Name 3?
Yeah, I literally have in the notes here. Ask the gang what sandbox games means to them. Gang, what does sandbox games mean to you? Because there is a definition for me, but I want to hear what you guys think first.
To me, it's a game that like gives you toys to do whatever you want with. It may steer you in a direction to play with those toys, but you are free to ignore those guides as well.
Yeah, I would agree largely with that emphasis on some sandbox games are like, you hear, go for it, do whatever you want to do, see what happens. The RuneScape of it all. And some of them are more guided. Like I would say the last Halo game that came out was trying really hard to be a sandbox game.
Sure.
That like you have to go to this part of the sandbox next. But you can mostly do anything.
Like Skyrim with its story and objectives is still a sandbox game to me.
Yeah. I think those are good. Matt, do you have anything you want to add?
Honestly, I think that sums it up pretty well. I was a Gmod person in 2014, 2013.
Gmod, I think, is the quintessential, maybe not the quintessential, the original sandbox game.
I think it's definitely the game that in my head most personifies the phrase sandbox because everything else is stripped away. And I think a sandbox game is really just the game gives you a box to play in. It like gives you a space to do, and Gmod gave you the least amount of influence on what that was at the time. But yeah, that's sandbox games. What the other guy said.
I feel like the real challenge would be like filling out a D&D alignment chart of like sandbox game purist versus lawful good is Mario Paint and chaotic neutral is Elder Scrolls 5 Skyrim.
Mario Paint
I think Elder Scrolls 5 goes further up the list than that. That's not what we're doing today.
Yeah, that's not what we're doing today.
We can do this later.
The reason why I brought this up is obviously we're going to talk about sandbox games today, but I think for me the quintessential is Minecraft. In that it's not necessarily the first, but I think it's definitely the one that made the whole you play this game forever idea a reality, right?
Yeah, it's the one.
It's the one. And I think these days you see a lot more games like this. And Todd pointed out the latest Halo game. A lot of games try to do this or to do a version of this so that you keep coming back, right? I think there are games like Elder Scrolls, which give you a lot, like our open world RPGs that give you a lot of stuff to do. And then there are games like Minecraft or in Matt's case, Gmod that's the game. And then there's stuff that sits somewhere in the middle. And that's really what we're going to talk about today. Because I think, let's just lead into it. So I want to talk about what I think is maybe the greatest do whatever you want games to ever have released. Now I
That's
say
high praise.
it is high praise. I find that this particular game I did not say create whatever you want,
Sure.
Do.
which is a difference. So I am not comparing this to Gmod or Mario Paint or Mario Maker, which are
Heard.
tools.
Mm-hmm.
But we're going to talk about No Man's Sky. And
Okay.
a lot of people do know this game. A lot of people have played it, but a lot of people haven't. And a lot of people who haven't played it most likely connect it to its famously rough launch. And thanks to our resident Butt Pop Nation interloper, Zakix, I'm going to talk today about the rise and fall and rise again of No Man's Sky.
I'm so pumped for this because
Same.
you summarized everything that I know about this already. This is the around
Sure.
the around the horn is like
Yeah.
I've been on a razor's edge of buying this game before. I've got a couple IRL friends that have evangelized how much better it's gotten, but I just cannot forget the terrible
The atrocities.
spore-like launch of
Oh,
this.
no.
Todd, Control F for Spore in the notes.
No, I'd rather be surprised.
Joining me today on this expedition are my fellow capital T travelers, Todd, Fallout 76 Thomas,
Oh, Andrew, why?
Matt, Cyberpunk 2077 Cole,
I'll allow it.
and Kyle, critically acclaimed MMORPG Final Fantasy XIV with expanded free trial. You can play up to level 70 free with no restrictions on playtime up through and including the award-adjacent Stormblood expansion, Harper.
I get it. These are all games that released bad that have since been redeemed.
Yeah, I know that Fallout 76 has gotten way better, but out of
That's
principle,
what the Reddit says, but out of
I won't be
principle.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is just to do the around the horn bit as Todd did real fast.
Mhm.
My feeling, the way Todd feels about Fallout 76 is kind of how I feel or have felt about No Man's Sky. I had a roommate at the time of No Man's Sky's release who was so excited, a day one downloader. And he was doing a lot of substances at the time, and he was just really excited about it. And watching him go high to low in the first 5 days of No Man's Sky's release was like, I don't think I can ever touch this game. So I'm also really excited to hear about what's happening since, or what's happened since that experience of mine. But yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was not similar to Matt, but adjacent to Matt. I was on Reddit, quote unquote, when No Man's Sky's hype.
I mean, look,
and
it was 2016. We were all aggressively online.
Yeah. When No Man's Sky's rise and collapse happened. So while I never participated in it, I was a watcher from afar. And I'm also excited to see how the Fallout, pun intended, has fallen out.
Well, let's start with what No Man's Sky is at its core. It's a sandbox game, like I said before, but it's a sandbox game with an emphasis on exploration, right? And that's like the major difference. Minecraft is an emphasis on building and crafting. Pokopia is an emphasis on discovery and finding Pokemon and building habitats, right? This is a sandbox game that is built around and for exploration. Now, you can do today as the game stands, you can do virtually anything. There's, the usual mining and building bases and getting resources and getting better and better resources, but you can also establish a multi-system trade empire. You can participate in epic space battles. You can raise alien species and so on and so forth. We'll get to it. But around all of that, exploring outer space is and always has been at this game's core. That's what it's all about. So you start as a nameless, faceless protagonist that is human-like, but any real features are kind of muddled by their heavy spacesuit. And I'll point it out again. We have an Imgur link. It's in the it's in the not the speaker notes, the show notes, and this one is relatively light because there's not a lot of images other than just like pretty planets. But image 1 here is the player. This is one of the example player characters. This was later retconned as an entire alien species called the Anomaly. But as you can see, this just like looks like a human-ass human in a spacesuit.
It's a bipedal thing in a spacesuit.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that's your like basically default player character.
It's whatever you want it to be in there.
It's whatever you want it to be.
I really like that they have different masks like Daft Punk.
They kind of do have different masks like that.
Kind of do have, and they're just one standing just kind of behind each other like an album cover.
Yeah.
Andrew, important question that I will not
Sure.
be able to proceed until you answered. Can I be Daft Punk in No Man's Sky?
Yeah.
Yeah, answer.
Probably.
All right.
I mean, you can be a version of it.
All right.
I'm sure. I guarantee someone has done that.
Sure.
So you play as a traveler, capital T traveler. You are a wandering explorer for hire, and your entire life is dedicated to charting the star systems. That's it. There's no backstory. That's just you. You don't have a personality. You live to explore. In other games, you'd be an adventurer. Here, you're a traveler. There are many other people in the universe, but none quite like you. Both in the fact that there are very few, if any, other travelers, quote unquote, but also you are the only humanoid anomaly because those are the player characters. And the main gameplay loop is this. You start on a randomized planet. You guys have seen the screenshots. You've seen the videos, right? You are armed with a jetpack and your trusty multi-tool, which conveniently looks like a gun. And with those two things, you run around, you mine, you scavenge your way to get your first starship, which then you use to upgrade and take off into outer space. You then have access to the star system, which is a series of 3 to 7-ish planets that all have a central space station where you can go get missions, buy, sell goods, things like that. Planets are procedurally generated. That's that's the game's whole catch is there are lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of planets, and they're procedurally generated as the game plays. So when this game came out, there were multiple servers. They've since changed the makeup, but essentially there are 18 quintillion planets.
Oh,
That's a lot.
how many zeros is that?
It's a lot of zeros. It is so many zeros that it is only expressed as an X.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. It is physically impossible for one singular person to have seen everything that this game has to offer.
With that attitude.
Yeah.
It is physically impossible. I think it's something, I forget the stat that I read, but like even if you visited one planet per second, it would still take you like thousands of years to do it.
Hell yeah.
Wow.
Big
Which is
numbers
like
are awesome.
Numbers
Right.
are awesome, man.
Yeah, man.
There are, and that's the major gameplay loop, right? So you're crafting and making bigger and better things. Eventually, you build a hyperdrive warp, and you can warp to other star systems, and you find bigger and better star systems with bigger and better stuff. And it's that slow incremental, I build better shit and get more money gameplay loop that basically, or kind of the like quote unquote end game is you're slowly making it to the center of the galaxy. But
Sure.
again, it's a sandbox game, et cetera, et cetera. There are 3 predominant alien species that you'll see throughout the game, and they exist in the entire universe. And these are going to make up the various NPCs that you'll see. First, we've got the Korvax. They are kind of like a humanoid-looking species of synthetic life forms. So like the Geth from Mass Effect without all the evil.
Mm-hmm.
I have in here, they are kind of Legion 4. They are kind of many, but also independent.
Okay.
Okay.
So you've got a Korvax in Image 2. They're just like a cooler, chiller Legion.
Like the Borg without all the baggage.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just kind of like a bro.
I'm into
You
that.
know, I think there's something there. I do.
You were getting
Yeah.
We'll workshop it. We'll workshop it. Yeah. So they do have a shared consciousness with other Korvax. It's called the Convergence, but it's more of like they just kind of check in. Like, hey, this is weird, right? Yeah. The Korvax, and I should note that there is peace across the universe. So there are 3 alien species that are throughout the entire universe, and there's no like this is a utopia and that there is no war. Everything is peace. So the Korvax prioritize science and engineering among all else. So next we have the Gek, which are a species of like these little reptile guys. They're just
there's 1,000 of them,
happy-go-lucky
right?
little guys. There aren't. There are just as many as the rest of them. They're just happy-go-lucky little guys
Or is it 100?
who value.
I think it's 100. Sorry, I'm
Okay.
making a
What
dumb
was that a
joke
reference to?
entirely to myself. Yeah, 100
Okay.
Gex is a Gen Z band.
Oh,
I said 1,000 and I screwed
It
up.
is. It is.
Got
it.
Oh, 1,000 Gex is an album by 100 Gex. So you're kind of
okay.
right.
Well, then
And it's
maybe I
spelled
big
different.
brained my way into a joke.
God,
Sorry,
you
I
guys
didn't
could
mean
be
to
making
derail
this
you,
whole thing
man.
Up, and I have no
this
idea.
This is not for anybody. So
It's
the
for
Gek are
someone.
just sure. Well, put in the comments if this is for you. The Gek are they're just little guys and they love trade and commerce. So they're kind of your default. Like if you're going to visit a shop, you're probably going to run into a Gex, and that's image 3. Just a little guy.
Oh, I
Do they
kind of
all
love
have-
him.
Do they all have those fun hats?
They don't have all those fun hats. This was the most little guy image that I could find.
Are they all
And then-
turtley?
They're
they all-
reptilian, yeah. They all have
Yeah,
beaks,
but
and
are
they're all
they-
like kind of reptile-y.
Okay, they all have beaks.
Mhm.
Is kind of where
Okay,
I was
yes,
going.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
they're not like of any number of reptiles shape,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
humanoid. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
And then we've got the Viking. They're these like hulking, brooding warrior types, like a Klingon or like maybe like a Krogan from Mass Effect. And they operate as these like loosely affiliated nomads. It may not surprise you that they value strength and honor in battle. Also, a lot of them have balls for chin.
Yeah, this image is really something. What's up with this man's lips?
Yeah, the longer you look at it, the more troubling it becomes.
You can do your own Google search for Viking. It's Vykeen. This one is my favorite because it's very like he's a little looks maxing.
He's
Kinda
he's kind of mewing in this.
He's
Yeah,
he's
they all
mogging
don't-
on us.
They all aren't Magen, but this one certainly is. So if I had to ask you right now, just tell me which of these 3 aliens have a sordid past of conquering the galaxy. What would you say?
D, all of the above.
Yeah. I
Okay,
feel like,
Kyle says all the above.
I feel like it's a trick question, and
Sure.
logic looking at these, you would not think it's the Gek because they seem to have the most amount of whimsy, which makes me want to believe it is the Gek.
Okay.
No, it's the Vikings. For
the
sure. That's why
Viking.
they're called
Okay.
Vikings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then if you had to guess which of these 3 has been in most of their history is being subjugated by one of the other species, what would you say?
Ooh.
Korvax is my guess.
Yeah, you
Korvax?
said-
Okay.
You said they were real chill, so I feel like they're on the receiving end of some nasties.
That's a good
I
guess.
was-
Okay.
I was gonna say the Gex. They're just little guys.
They're just little guys. All right. Well, we'll come back to that. Now, there is a central storyline, but like a lot of the sandbox games we talked about earlier, the storyline acts as more of a string of tutorial quests to show you the main functions of the game, right? It walks you through building bases. It walks you through owning a rover because there's a rover, and all of the other vehicles that you can get, starships, freighters, all of the different features. The story kind of is designed to hit all of those flags, and it just at least teach you the basics about the world of the game. So let's get into the part that everybody knows, which is the bungled launch. All
we
right,
go.
so head into my time machine with me as we travel all the way back to 2013 during the Spike Video Game Awards.
Oh my God.
I wasn't ready for that.
Everybody,
Yeah, man.
Everybody, roll a d4 for damage.
That's crazy.
Oh.
Yeah, dude, the Spike Video Game Awards.
No,
Remember
no
that?
Constitution check on that one.
Who
No,
hosted the
that's-
Spike Video Game Awards in 2013? That's what I want to know.
Brother, man, this was Jeff Keighley's bit.
Oh
this
my
was his
God.
first. Yeah, this is what birthed the Video Game Awards as they are today. This was like Jeff Keighley's portion of G4 Spike TV. So
Good grief.
interestingly, I should note in 2013, this was the last year of the Spike Video Game Awards, as it was renamed to the VGX Awards. So another thing that's really fun from 2013 is, do you guys want to guess what was Game of the Year?
In 2013.
It was Grand Theft Auto 5.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah,
Okay,
it
sure,
was.
man.
Perpetual always game, Grand Theft Auto 5.
Yeah, you would have
that
talked
came out
about
in-
a forever sandbox game.
Did that come out in
Yeah.
2012? Is that how that worked? That came out in
I guess.
came out in the first Obama administration. I guess the beginning of the second Obama administration.
Yeah, September 17 of 2013. Isn't that crazy? The game is actually timeless.
That's incredible.
We're at what?
Yeah.
the longer I think
13
about it, the
years old
wilder
I
it
know.
is.
I know. It's kind of an insane thing to sit on, and we don't have time.
No.
But I just want to set the scene. Also, this is when Jeff Keighley emerged from his veritable cocoon. And during this time, he descended on us like the second coming of Jesus Christ and unveiled a trailer for a little indie project called No Man's Sky. I actually do have a link to the trailer in here.
Oh,
If you
good.
guys want to go ahead and pop that bad boy on, it's 2 minutes. It's really quick. And I'm just going to explain some of the backstory. So this game, no one had heard of this game before, and it was connected to a teeny tiny little studio in Southeast England called Hello Games. Hello Games was and still is just a couple people. At time of this trailer, it was 4 dudes. Chief among them was studio co-founder and the villain of our story, or at least the perceived villain of our story, Sean Murray. Sean Murray is the guy that you have seen before. Sean Murray would eventually become the public figurehead for both the game and Hello Games, the studio.
The guy whose job it is to take all the aggro from the public. And
Yep.
Yeah.
boy, howdy, was there a lot.
Boy, howdy, was there a lot. You guys watching this trailer?
I am, dude. And
Yeah.
I cannot believe what this game looked like in 2013.
Yeah.
Knowing,
I mean, neither could your old roommate.
I'm telling you, man. Well, and at time of recording, I just finished editing the episode where I talked about Cabela's Dangerous Hunts 2013. I watched a lot of gameplay footage, and I gotta say, the difference is dramatic. This looks a
Yeah.
lot better.
It's pretty amazing, and it's pretty amazing that that's pretty close to how the game looks today.
Yeah.
Or at least
That's-
it did.
I
At launch.
remember this trailer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this was fucking everywhere, guys.
Yeah.
Like
Right.
this came out of nowhere and was immediately everywhere.
And wouldn't be released for 3 more years.
Which, like,
And even
to be
then-
fair, isn't uncommon, especially in like it's an initial trailer. I mean, when did they announce Metroid Prime 4, right?
when
Like,
did I was gonna say when did they announce
it's not
Elder Scrolls
uncommon.
6?
Yeah. It's not uncommon to have a development cycle like this. It is uncommon to have a PR cycle like this, and that's what we're going to talk about. Now, to set up the scene a little bit about Hello Games. So prior to No Man's Sky, Hello Games' single credit was a motorcycle racing game for PS3, Xbox 360, and mobile called Joe Danger in 2010. It was
Dang.
fine. We got an image. It's a 2D, like, it looks like a mobile game. We got an image of Joe Danger on image 5. It was popular enough, made enough money that it got a sequel 2 years later. It's called Joe Danger 2, the movie.
Is it really?
Good.
Hell yeah.
That's pretty good. But going back to the trailer, so I think you guys have probably finished it by now. As you saw, I mean, it's a pretty impressive display of the game's main features of exploration. Again, right? Like, we're going to keep coming back to this. It's all about exploring planets. And with that heavy emphasis on the main mechanic that drives the game, which is, of course, the procedural generation, right? And in 2013, this was a relatively new thing. I mean, we had a couple like roguelikes and stuff. I think we had like Binding of Isaac, which, people knew about procedural generation, but it was more for like roguelikes and dungeons and stuff. So certainly nothing on this scale. And like we all remember, people went nuts. Sony, including, also went nuts at the time. And in 2013, Sony needed some heat for PlayStation. The Last of Us had just come out by this point. And before The Last of Us, you have to remember the PS3 was kind of a flop, right?
Yeah.
Like Uncharted was technically their only exclusive. And like, again, Uncharted is fine, but it wasn't until Uncharted 2 and 3 that like that game ever took any traction.
PS3 has no games began the blank has no games meme.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Huh.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So this was around Sony's inflection point. But again, at the time, they didn't know if The Last of Us was going to succeed. So they went hard into No Man's Sky and actually very quickly offered exclusive, like to produce No Man's Sky for Hello Games. And this is important because Hello Games said, actually, we want to actually own all of the production. We want to own the commercialization, the promotion. Again, this is just 4 dudes in southeastern England who are like, no, Sony Computer Entertainment America, we want to do the promotion ourselves.
Gotta love a scrappy DIY, man. They're making a zine.
This will be important later. So the deal is Sony would back Hello Games only monetarily, and they would in turn get exclusive console rights to No Man's Sky. So No Man's Sky would eventually launch on PS4, but also for Windows. So just a note. So Hello Games for the next 2 years would go on and conduct all of the promotion themselves while finishing up development. And this is the core of the problem. For 2 years, Sean Murray would be the sole PR, marketing, promotions arm of the 4 developer unit that is Hello Games developing 2016's No Man's Sky.
That is like that is level 20 Oath of Vengeance Paladin level tank shit. Like you're just you are the meme of the soldier with the arrows in his back, except those arrows are coming from Genghis Khan's army.
He's like an energy vampire of some kind.
Yes.
Like the only reason you do that is if you feed off of hate.
There are two narratives to this story. One narrative is that Sean Murray went out there and lied to a bunch of people and tried to make a bunch of money and took the bag and ran with it and played us all for fools, much like the Peters Molyneux of the past. That's one. That is one explanation or one narrative. Another narrative to this story is Sean Murray was so fucking in over his head. He was a developer who got eaten alive by a very hungry press and a very edgy games industry that needed a villain.
Yeah, I can already see the makings of like a case study I would have written in college.
Yeah, man.
And
100%.
And there's nothing, especially like after a certain point, there's nothing he can do if once someone becomes convinced he's just a grifter stealing their money, there's nothing you can do will save that.
Yeah.
Exactly.
There's an event horizon of like belief there.
And that event horizon is hosted by Stephen Colbert.
There.
Okay.
When you said he was the face, I'm like, how much of the face?
Yep. So Sean Murray would go on to appear on several press junkets. Now, this whole thing started, the inflection point is the Spike Video Game Awards of 2013, where Sean Murray comes up and does a live press conference at the event and explains this is the game and there's all these planets and we're procedurally generated. You can go anywhere, right? And he would repetitively go on news publication after IGN, after G4 TV interview, and would go on and just spit out whatever the dev team was working on at the time. And again, this is for people who are working on their life's pet project. They got a lot of ambitions. This is an incredibly ambitious game. But this is also a game crafted with a lot of love. And the problem is, anytime you do a pet project, you're going to reduce the scope over time. You have to.
Yeah. You have to. Well, and if he's sharing things like what they're currently working on,
yep,
the development is a zigzag path to success at best.
Right. Exactly.
And Kyle, you hit it on the head. Like the moral of the story before we're done with it is exactly that. Like, again, the spore of it all, limitless planets,
Yes.
limitless development, limitless technology. And everyone's like, shit, they said limitless a lot. Todd Howard got up on stage and said Fallout 76 would not limit you to do anything. And then they said, what if there's a paywall and it's $10 a month?
Yeah, man. And that's like, when you look at what are the factors here, there is a spore-sized vein that is popping in every single press person's head. Because what is happening is you slowly watch this man. And I watched before we started recording. I can't really do it justice, but I watched a couple a video, like just reels of him making all of these public appearances. And boy, did he show up a lot.
Oh, yeah.
And think about it this way, right? Like, he starts coming and is like making these announcements like, yeah, you can do anything. And is immediately like, oh, really? What do you mean by that? And then the more he says it, the more he gets challenged by like, but what are you actually doing?
Yeah.
Right. And he's like, anything you want. Like, and again, it comes from, I genuinely believe it doesn't come from a sinister place, but if you're looking at this and being like, fucking Peter Molyneux, you told us that everything was going to be great with Fable. Fucking what's his name from Sims told us Spore was going to be like, Will Wright told us we could do anything we want in Spore. It is the constant promise that is constantly not delivered.
It's the same thing. Now that it's like been closed down, it's the same thing like they did with Metaverse and that whole disaster.
Yeah.
Just like, you can do whatever you want. You can buy digital real estate and sit in an office.
Yeah, you can go shop at
Anything you
Walmart.
want.
Well, and this is, I've two thoughts that immediately come to mind is like, one, this is before games as a service was really a thing. And so the overpromise, under-deliver of it all, like there was way less history to draw on. Not no history. Spore had already happened, but like, you know, this was kind of a fresher grift. The other thing that comes to mind is like, media training exists for a reason.
Media training exists. Like, shout it from the rooftops.
Very real.
It does really, like, so far the impression I'm getting is, hey guys, our mobile game did better than we thought. We're invincible now. We can do whatever we want. And then they started hitting limits and they're like, oh no, we can't do whatever we want.
Dear listener, when you're listening out there, if you happen to be the CEO of a company, hey, what's up? I have thoughts. Don't fire your PR team. That's why you have them.
Yep.
Like, PR team is important for this reason.
I don't know, Andrew. You have a vested interest in not firing PR teams, though. So I don't know if I can.
Because of my advertising background? Yeah, sure.
I also, counterpoint to any of this. It's more fun if you do. Fire your PR team. Watch what happens.
Light that candle.
Yeah, watch what happens. So, again, you can imagine this poor man, I won't editorialize. This man appeared on dozens and dozens of press junkets, including, and you gotta watch the clip, he was on Late Night with Stephen Colbert, where Colbert also grilled him like,
God.
so you say you can do anything. Like, that's what we're talking about here.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Like,
I feel like that
Sean
was
Murray became a
pretty-
household name because of this.
Yeah, I feel like that was pretty early into Colbert's tenure on the
Mhm.
Late
I think
Show
so.
too.
Yeah. And there are two major things that constantly came out of this feedback loop. One was the claim that I brought up earlier, which is the 18 quintillion planets. That is the science and the math behind this game. The other is how this is basically a multiplayer game. I will explain. So the idea that he had set out multiple times was that No Man's Sky is kind of this shared universe. And because there are 18 quintillion planets, there's never a chance, like the game could go on for years and years and years and like it'll never get overcrowded. Because again, you can explore every inch of every one of these planets. And it takes real world hours and hours and hours to just walk or drive around the surface of a planet. They're huge, right? They are almost to scale. So it is, again, physically almost 99. He would say it's 99.9% impossible, 99% unlikely that you will just randomly run into someone else walking around. But you're all going to exist in this shared universe. This will be important later.
Okay. Yeah, I do remember. I remember this.
Yeah.
selling
Meaning
point.
you can, if you guys share coordinates, you can hop in and like hang out together on your planets. So again, we won't belabor this. The press cycle spun out of control. Murray made a lot of claims during these 2 years. And while the multiplayer thing is the biggest, I found a Reddit thread that was posted 10 years ago that was like, here's all the things that Sean Murray said that aren't happening.
Amazing.
I'm gonna run off
perfect.
them. You could have faction wars in space, planets with rings on them, landing on asteroids, flying low, like on planets, like flying in planets, but yeah. Seeing other people, see also multiplayer. Seeing wear and tear on spaceships, crashed freighters, animals interacting with the environment, because animals at launch were just kind of like, they just kind of stayed put. And then having other like wingmen or fighters that can join you. I bring this up because that entire exhaustive list is both stuff that wasn't in launch and is also absolutely ultimately became features out less than 2 years after launch,
For sure.
Okay.
Perfect.
Mhm.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
which is interesting, right? So again, like one thing I want to clarify is Hello Games and Sean Murray could have just took the bag and run, but they didn't do that.
Yeah.
And that's the piece that makes, in my opinion, this group not villains but victims of this story.
Mm.
Yeah.
So as you can imagine,
Before we,
go ahead.
I looked it up. Late Show with Stephen Colbert, first episode aired September 8th, 2015. Sean Murray was on October 3rd, 2015.
Holy shit!
Oh my God.
Oh.
There were,
That's wild.
yeah, 4
That's
weeks
crazy.
into the run.
That's GTA 5 was Game of the Year in 2013 levels of holy shit.
Yeah.
So this press created a pressure cooker of hype and expectations that so often happens in gaming, but just especially extra happened here. And we've mentioned 2008 Spore. You had every IGN writer in the world saying, this is the next Spore. Here it is, guys. Now, there was a little bit of a delay, but they announced that this thing was releasing in 2016, and goddamn it, it released in 2016. And August 9th, 2016, we got the full release of No Man's Sky, which, to be fair, is not something Star Citizen can say. Because may I remind you, Star Citizen had already been announced by this point.
I was going to say, we talked about a game recently and I couldn't remember what it was.
Star
and it was
Citizen.
Star Citizen.
Which is absolutely a grift and a scam.
I had these two
Yeah.
games
It's not, but
confused. They were the same game in my head because of
Fair.
what happened with No
I
Man's
think
Sky.
I think a lot of people did, and I think the fact that Star Citizen was the one, for anyone who doesn't remember, Star Citizen is the one that's been crowdfunded for like 15 years.
Yeah.
That people have dumped like thousands and thousands of dollars into having like their like tricked out spaceships. It still hasn't launched and doesn't even have a release date.
That might qualify as a cult at this point.
They might, yeah. I mean, people. No, I imagine people have funneled more money into Star Citizen than some utopian communities. Yes.
Yeah,
Sick.
definitely.
So, as we all remember, No Man's Sky released to not a bang but a whimper on August 9th of 2016, and it released on PS4 and Steam. Now, it's interesting. The game sold around 2 million units, 1.99 million, and then also Matt's roommate.
Yeah.
And early reviews for the game were not rosy in the slightest. So I don't know, Matt, do you remember anything about watching your
I
your
literally
ex-roommate play this?
remember where I was when he booted it up for the
do you
first
want
time.
to just kind of give us a tight 30 on those first couple hours?
Yeah, I mean, I remember he had pretty recently purchased the computer. It was an Apple computer or a Mac, and it was pretty hefty Mac, and it like cooked to get the game up and running. That's one of the things that I really remember was being like, whoa, dude, I don't think your computer's supposed to sound like that. And I remember him being so excited when the like opening screen hit, and he was like, oh, this is amazing. And then within 30 minutes was like, yeah. That was pretty much what I remember. Like, it was just everything we've already talked about. It was a game that was overpromised and then delivered on time.
Yeah.
As it was able to be.
Having been like on Reddit at the time, I remember a lot of cope. I remember like not seeing a lot
So
of the
much
promised
cope.
features. But I'm still in the first 10 hours of the game. Maybe it's just not on this planet. And then it was like, okay, it's not on the first 4 planets I've explored, but there's a quintillion more of these. Maybe it's out there. And then just as the days went on, just more and more faith lost.
I feel like I remember, and I could be making this up, but I feel like I remember within the first week, players had already like bumped into each other in worlds.
Yes.
They were like, it'll take years before you see anyone.
They didn't. That's the thing.
Oh, okay.
People didn't bump into each other. So let's actually segue. So what you guys are exclaiming is exactly the case. Basically, people quickly realize that, hey, there's nothing to do. We got this big infinite sandbox and no toys to play with. We just have a bag of sand. It's just sand forever in different colors and different shapes with different names. And the biggest thing was, though, the most damning factor was, hey, I thought this was a shared world. And the thing that I think you're remembering, Matt, is a bunch of people reported saying, hey, we're going to try to find the exact coordinates and meet each other.
Yes.
And then realizing that, whoops, they were both in the same location, but they were playing a single player game.
Is this also, and I'm sorry if I'm jumping ahead, is this also the game that made Steam or PlayStation like change their returns policy?
It might be. I don't know that. I don't know that fact to be sure, but it might be.
Vaguely remember this as well.
Possibly.
Okay.
If somebody wants to look that up, I'm gonna share some numbers about that. If somebody wants to look it up,
I got it.
So, No Man's Sky quickly dropped to mostly negative on Steam. Concurrent players went from about 210,000 at launch to about 23,000 1 week later.
Whew. Whew.
Its lowest concurrent players was about 2,000 in early 2017, so 5 months later. That is a loss of 99%.
It's rough, buddy.
That's rough, man.
That's rough, buddy.
That's how MOBAs die.
Yeah.
That's how Highguard died.
I wasn't gonna say it. I was gonna let the dead stay dead, Matt.
R.I.P.
I'll talk about it more later.
It
This
was-
is giving me a lot of thoughts and feelings, but we'll get back to it.
Cyberpunk is the one that Sony
Cyberpunk.
offered like
Yeah.
straight like would just like if you requested a refund, they would do a refund. No Man's Sky was notable in that you could talk them into breaking their strict no refunds policy, but you had to like fight with a customer service rep to get it.
Gotcha.
But No Man's Sky was the first one where they were like, yeah, if someone wants a refund, we'll refund it. Which is a big deal for Sony, apparently.
So you may this may come as a surprise to you. People who are fans of video games that spend a lot of time online, famously cool about being disappointed about video games.
Yeah. The internet is collectively like famous for just taking this with stride.
Yeah, just being adults about it.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of people review bombed the game, which sure. Especially shitty people sent death threats to members of Hello Games. Not cool.
No,
don't do that.
Very not cool.
Because of this and because of all of the stuff, Hello Games pretty much receded from the public sphere. After the launch, the Hello Games Twitter was completely dark for the next 3 months. Didn't see a word from Hello Games. And 3 months after a game launch is enough time to assume that they picked the bag and ran. And again, everybody could have assumed that this was the case. This was it's the next Spore. It's just take the L and take our 200 million whatever sales units and be on our way. And then in November, we got communication from Hello Games for the first time. Hello Games had been completely silent, probably because of the death threats, and was like, hey, everybody, we're actively listening. We have just made an update to the game. And in November of 2016, we saw the first major free update, Foundations. Foundations added back multiplayer. No, I take that back. Foundations, I have it written down here. We'll come back to it. Foundations was more of a like gameplay update.
Sure.
Okay.
A lot of UI stuff, the like. The next update, so again, Hello Games goes dark. 3 months after that, after we've hit 2,000 concurrent players on Steam, we get Pathfinder, which added more content. We've got planet rovers and what's called exocrafts, which are like vehicles that you can kind of trick out and drive around. And then they go dark again. And then in August of 2017, a full year after the release, we get a brand new story campaign and a complete rehaul called Atlas Rises. And this is the point at which No Man's Sky makes an actual pivot, heel turn. It is at this point that the game is mostly reworked, and we'll talk about the single player campaign, but we now see third person view, because when the game launched, it was only in first person. So now we have third person view. That's what introduced the anomaly character. It basically reworked the entire like story of the universe, added back in multiplayer. Really, like a lot of those things that I ticked off in that Reddit thread are already addressed by this point.
Oh.
Now, is it great that all of those features were promised at launch and didn't happen? No, it's not. But they did happen. So now we have a situation where, and I'm going to kind of lead us to where we are today, because I want to be very clear. And if people don't know this, No Man's Sky has had over 30 individual massive content updates, all of them free.
Damn. That rips.
I think I knew that number and the free price tag was like the way they're working against the just ass load of bad press.
Yeah, I did know they were fixing the game for free with like all these major updates they weren't charging for them. So
I'm gonna run through and so in looking at kind of the postmortem of this, right? I think there's been a lot of reflection, specifically from Jeff Keighley, who has, again, Jeff Keighley being like, he's a force for good in the universe. He's a silly man, but he's generally a force for good. And he's gone on record a few times saying, I feel partly responsible for what happened, and actually like significantly changed the course of how he operates these award shows. There's a reason why you don't see like announcements for games without gameplay trailers these days in the video game awards, and it's because of No Man's Sky.
Yeah.
And he's significantly like changed his process of like, I don't preview anything unless it's like it exists, unless it's like it is a hard coded, like it's ready to come out. There are other people in the press that have also, I've read a couple articles that are reflecting on like, yeah, we kind of did a bad job here, you know? And again, it was just like an element of the time, right? This was pivot to video era.
It was pivot to video. It was the height of the like Silicon Valley tech boom of just like overpromise and figure out how later. Very like Theranos, the Theranos thing happened around the same time. WeWork was happening around the same time. Like
there's also like
the culture, man.
There's also like peak Gamergate.
It was peak Gamergate.
It was a bad time.
It was a bad time.
Like, it's a bad time now, but it was also a bad time then. It's always been a bad time. Has it always been a bad time? It's mostly been a bad time.
The whole time.
Time has been bad. So I'm going to quickly run through. I'm going to just list off the major updates that have happened, and the latest being last month as of this recording. So in July 2018, by 1 year later, like I said, we've got multiplayer. We've got a lot of the basic features reworked. We've got a brand new storyline, a new tutorial that like leads players through all the features of the game. July 2018, the next update adds fleets of ships that you can command from your freighter. You also have freighters, which are these like mobile space bases that you can also, like, much like your planet base, you can build these these massive freighter bases that, can be your storage or whatever, and they can also fly and shoot shit. You can add fleets of ships to your freighter squadron. In October 28, they added undersea exploration. You can make customizable submarines and make underwater bases. That same year, they also added salvaging crashed freighters, salvaging from alien bases, fossils. You can dig up fossils and make dinosaurs, space dinosaurs.
I love a space dinosaur.
It's like Animal Crossing.
It's like Animal Crossing. In August 2019... so multiplayer up to this point was just like, you could just kind of like build bases together. But in August 2019, they greatly expanded that to add missions. You can go on missions with other people in multiplayer, which is pretty cool. In April 2020, famously, not much happened that year. We added pilotable mechs. You can just have like a big mech suit and you can just cause havoc on planets. You can also, they made some patches adding spaceship upgrades and also organic ships that you harvest from an egg. That's weird.
Neat.
They added next gen support for PS5 and Xbox Series S in late 2020. In 2021, we got companions, which gave us the ability to tame and raise native creatures dwelling on all the planets.
Everybody wants
so
pets.
Now everyone gets pets. Now you can harvest and farm animals and Pokemon them, I guess. In September of 2021, we got managing alien settlements. So now you can basically like manage an entire town and build like
we got colonialism.
Cities. Yep.
Neat.
February 2022, the Sentinel update overhauled combat. So basically, combat was kind of an afterthought and was not loved. They took that and started it from scratch and added in a lot more guns. So there are like 5 different gun types for your multi-tool that you can kit out. There's a bunch of different weapon types, like rocket launchers to plasma grenades, like all kinds of shit. You can do third person or first person combat. There's also unique gear related to the Sentinels, which are like the big bad of the universe. They also improved spaceship combat. Spaceship combat's a big part of this. Late 22, we got Mac OS and Switch support. 2023 got Space Pirates. There's also Space Pirates that you can hunt down or be a space pirate, which is rad as shit.
That's pretty cool.
And then you can space pirate the Space Pirates and steal all their shit. I have a Space Pirate freighter. It's awesome. I love it. July 2024 was probably the biggest update, called Worlds Part 1, which until this point, we were still using the multi-server procedural generated planet system. Worlds overhauled the planet generation and added all kinds of new planets. Ice planets, flame planets, desert planets, gas giants, ringed planets, moons, all kinds of shit. Any planet you can think of. Paradise planets, exotic planets. We got all kinds of different, basically overhauled how they create planets.
The
Instead of
George
blue planet,
Lucas
red planet,
package
green
is what
planet.
they
The
call
George
it.
Lucas package. We also Water Worlds as well was something that they added. We got a fishing mechanic in 2024.
There it is.
Sure.
2025 was Worlds Part 2, which is what added the water worlds and gas giants. Later in 2025, Switch 2 support, more fossils, more underground treasures. In August 2025, we got Corvette class starships. So you have regular starships, you have freighters. Now we have Corvette ships, which are like livable spaceships that you can like build rooms in, like a Millennium Falcon.
That is not what I expected Corvette class to be.
Same.
Yeah.
But okay.
Yeah.
And then most recently in 2026, we got the Remnant update, which added deep space trucking.
All right.
Yeah, man.
Hell yeah, brother. You can haul scrap through outer space and it rules. So again, as you can imagine, this is a Stardew Valley scale of like, this game has so much that's been added, all for free. All you need. I've bought this game 2 or 3 times because like, sure, why not? Which is like a lot of people's experience with Stardew Valley. You get it on you get it on mobile, you get it on Switch, you get it on whatever, on PC. So by 2021, the game had gone from a mostly negative aggregate on Steam to mostly positive, and it currently sits at very positive today on Steam.
All right.
Yeah. And today, nearly 10 years after its launch, No Man's Sky, as I've said, is an actual, no pun intended, black hole. It is. This game, you can actually do anything now, 10 years later. It took us a long time to get here, but 10 years later, you can actually do anything. And it sees regularly between 20 to 30,000 concurrent players, even long periods between major updates. It's very good. I've already put 50 hours into it between the last couple days and when I started playing this last year. And I love it. I think it's a really, 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 really good game. And I think everybody should give it a shot because it's very good.
Here's a question, and maybe you've already answered it. When you play multiplayer, do you like party up? Do you just show up together? Is there like
Both.
Okay, I wasn't sure if this was like
So you can do a little bit of both.
Okay, I wasn't sure if it was like a Sea of Thieves where you create a crew of 4, or if you can just kind of show up and party.
So you can do these like multiplayer expeditions, which are finite quests. Like you're dropped on this planet, do this thing. There are also these longer term, like every so often they'll do for a month. Like, you know how like games of a service do seasons? You can do these like 3 to 4 hour long form mini campaigns.
Oh, that's cool.
That are just like, they're just like challenges that are just like, okay, we're going to dump you on this kind of planet. We need you to like find this, do this, and build this using only these resources. And it's like, you get like seasonal rewards basically for it.
Okay.
If you want to just like hang out, you can do that. You can, at any point, you can just go and visit people's bases. You just like, basically like the main hub of the game has a portal that you can go and like, basically like search for people's bases, or if people give you coordinates to visit them, you can go do that. So kind of like an Animal Crossing sort of a situation.
Okay.
And you can build bases together too. So a lot of people will like have friends come in, you can share resources and build shit together, which is cool.
Yeah.
So long story short, very good game. I highly encourage, if you are like me and you like exploration, you like discovery, if you are the kind of person who played Breath of the Wild and kept getting distracted and didn't finish the story mission, I'm telling you, you got to play this game. This is exactly for you. So we're going to take a break. We're going to come back and we're going to talk about the story to No Man's Sky. There's a reason why I led with the IRL story of No Man's Sky. The story is fine. It's just, it exists. So,
Sure.
But you should definitely come back and listen because it's really, really good. Okay. See you in a second. Bye. And we're back. All right. So we talked about the IRL story of No Man's Sky. Let's talk about the in-game story. I think there are some interesting bits here. It's certainly not, it's no Guilty Gear, but the thing about this game, the lore of this game, you're welcome, Matt. The thing about the lore of this game is it's very understated, kind of like Dark Souls, but not quite like Dark Souls in that there's a lot of inferring and things that happen off screen in like data log entries and stuff like that, where you're not going to get it by just like going through the story. You're only going to experience it by watching YouTube content.
If you want to completely not engage with the story and just fly to a new planet, mine
you're
it,
not going to lose anything.
You can do that. Yeah.
So we begin, as all good space operas do, by awaking on a mysterious planet, marooned with no memory of how we got here.
Classic.
Classic. We make our way around following the tutorial breadcrumbs of moving here, going here, jumping here, mine for these materials. We repair our exosuit, our spacesuit, and we find what is apparently our ship that conveniently needs some repairs. So more tutorials. We make our way through this unfamiliar planet. We secure the necessary materials to repair our ship and start to figure out what's just going on here. We kick on the ship's thrusters for the first time and we exit the planet's environment and we see space for the very first time. Roll title screen. Now at this point, we have had nothing but a singular faint distress signal. So we follow that distress signal and we hop to a different planet following that signal. Here we learn how to build and set up a base. We follow a few more distress signals, kind of, again, breadcrumbs, right? Jump in your ship, head to this area. Here's some more blueprints to build this thing. Go back to your base, build this thing, and so on and so forth. We eventually outfit our ship with a hyperdrive. We build weapons. We get all of the essentials for our home base. We learn about mining metals and all of the building blocks, all the vegetables for these kinds of games. And the tutorial ends with a transmission from an unknown sender. And this is the point where like, oh my God, somebody else. So the idea that like there's someone else out there that knows anything that isn't just like a NPC merchant, that's enough to keep going. So we follow that. We follow the coordinates to a crashed ship. Now, the computer logs are mostly corrupted, but what we get is the owner, the ID of the ship, Artemis. Now, heading through the coordinates of the transmission, we get another communication. So we leave this planet. We have Artemis Intel, or we have the Artemis ID. We get a transmission from someone named Priest Entity Nada, who is a Korvax. And as we're in space, all of a sudden, this massive spherical space station that kind of looks like the Death Star just appears out of nowhere. And that's image 6.
Uh-oh. That's definitely legally distinct Death Star.
Yeah, they're not getting sued.
Yeah.
So, interestingly enough, legally distinct Death Star is good. It's just chill.
It's
Okay.
Life Star.
Yeah, it's okay. So this is the space anomaly, and it is an anomaly both in form and function. The space anomaly.
I don't like that I'm asking this question.
Yeah.
In species, is the spaceship anomaly the same race of alien as the other
No.
anomalies? Okay.
Nope.
I just had to ask.
We just ran out of proper nouns.
Good.
So the space anomaly exists outside of time and space and only appears to a chosen few capital T travelers that can see it. And that just so happens to be us. And it just so happens to be every other player character who plays No Man's Sky. And it just so happens to be a couple select few NPCs. And this is the crux of multiplayer. So remember how I said in Atlas, in the 2017 update, they reworked the storyline and they reworked multiplayer. So the space anomaly is our hub. This is like our actual home base, like the tower in Destiny 2. This is where you can go and actually see people just running around. You can go and team up and do, this is your social hub, or your community hub, basically. But it also is home to two friendly NPCs, a Korvax named Nada, who we already met, and a Gex named Polo. It's Nada and Polo. And these are our buddies. Nada and Polo explain what the anomaly is, how it works. They basically introduce us to all of the multiplayer features. What's more, they tell us, hey, we know who Artemis is. That's their friend. But we haven't seen Artemis in quite some time. They're probably in trouble if they're trying to contact you. Also, we learn about a very different entity known as Atlas. And Atlas is delivered with reverence, but also with fear. Polo in particular says, don't trust the red liar.
The red liar
quite the
being
nickname.
Atlas.
The red liar we learn is Atlas.
Okay.
Not much is known about it other than many of the other aliens, most notably the Korvax, worship it as a god.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's at this point we leave the space anomaly. This is an inflection point. So I'm going to go through the 1.0 storyline, which is called the Atlas path. So at this point, like in 1.0 at launch, there was nothing about Artemis. It was just you go to the space anomaly, no one's there, and then you get set on the storyline, which is the Atlas path. I'm going to talk about the Atlas path first. This is still in the game. You can still do this, and it's worth doing because you get some rewards, but it is only one branch of the storyline. So in the Atlas path, Polo tells you, hey, here's a local star system or close by star system that has what's called an Atlas interface. So when you enter that system, you're greeted by this hulking metal diamond that glows with this like eerie red robotic glow in Image 7.
Oh.
It's also notably in the game's logo.
It's Andros.
Yeah. So this diamond with the red dot iconography is everywhere. It's in the trailer. It's in the launch trailer, and it's in the game's like startup screen. So you fly inside and you enter this. You see this strange alien-looking sphere. It speaks in an unfamiliar language, and you just kind of go through a little bit of mental paralysis. Image 8 is the inside of the Atlas interface. And you talk to it,
a little bit of madness going through.
It's just a big kind of goopy sphere. And when you talk to it, you got to ponder the orb, baby. And when you talk to it, your player character just kind of narrates, and they're like, suddenly I feel like nothing is real. And suddenly I feel like reality is shaving around me. Atlas is everything. The Atlas is everything and nothing. Everything for the Atlas. Like, it's very, the Atlas is dead. All hail the Atlas.
Yeah.
Got it.
So this Atlas interface says, do you wish to continue down the Atlas path? And you can either accept or decline. So obviously we accept.
We accept.
Is this one of those where you decline and the game just ends?
Same question.
Kinda. Well, you just don't do anything. Like, it just is like,
You just go
just
back to mining planets for
It's kind of like when you tell Princess Zelda, no, I don't want to do this quest, and she's like, but Link, you should do this quest. You should reconsider. Yeah. So you click accept without really knowing what you've accepted. The sphere then says you have to seek the next interface. So you do so. You warp to another system. You commune with the Atlas interface, and this time you get a blueprint to a strange type of craft. It's called an Atlas seed. Doesn't really matter. You then do this 10 times. You go to 10 different Atlas interfaces, and each time your inner monologue starts to get weirder and weirder, and you're still questioning what the hell this thing is. Gameplay wise, this is a check on what you have mined, what resources you have collected at this point, because each of these like blueprints basically is like the next level up in metal. Like, you know how in Stardew it's like everything is copper, then you get iron, then you get silver, then you get gold. It's like that. So it is just like natural checks to see, have you been exploring planets?
Gotcha.
Cool.
But gameplay or by narratively wise, your character is like questioning what the hell the Atlas is. And after these 10 interfaces, you figure out that the Atlas is not a god per se, but it did create something. It's probably synthetic. It's probably some sort of machine. Maybe it's a machine god, but it's like not super clear. It's not sinister. It's not hostile. It just like demands worship.
Oh, is that
Which
all?
I realize is an oxymoron, but
Yeah.
yeah. More importantly, it is calling out to you, your player character in particular. So the penultimate Atlas interface tells you to construct the Heart of the Sun, which, like I said, is your final check of that. That requires what was the most rare mineral of the game at that point.
Got it.
So you build it. You build the Heart of the Sun. You take it to the final interface. There, Atlas says, "Do you want to create a new star or walk away and return to the galaxy?" So you say, "Sure, I will create a new star, I guess." And it does. And you walk away.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay.
And that's it. That's the Atlas path. That's the original end of this game.
Oh.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah.
I mean, it sounds like it really lived up to the hype.
Yeah. So you can understand why Matt's old roommate was disappointed.
Yeah,
Um,
you know?
So to put it in perspective, I never did this. When I before we got this flavor text, I had put 40 hours into this game.
Damn.
I did not even interact with the Atlas. I didn't do the story. I had done so little of the story. So when I was doing the notes, I was like, I went back into my save thinking that I had mostly completed the story. When Zakix had asked us to do this, they were like, "Hey, like the story's actually pretty cool." I was like, "I don't remember there being a story." It's because I didn't do it and I thought I did,
Perfect.
which is pretty good. So I went through the Atlas path. It took me an hour.
Wow.
It took me
Sure.
1 hour.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because it's nothing, and I had already explored a bunch of planets. I already had all this stuff in my inventory, and I was like, "This is really stupid." And then I realized that I also hadn't done the actual story, which is what we're going to talk about now, which is the Artemis path. So we had that inflection point of visiting Atlas. We return to the ship from the anomaly, and we get contacted by Artemis themselves, and it's not really clear what they're saying, but we know that they are both real and very much in trouble. So we locate one of the things that this game does is it makes you find communication relays, and like, because again, you're in an infinite universe, so you have to find a relay to set up like a holographic telecommunication line or whatever. It's just the game's way of making you go to X thing instead of just call them on their cell phone. So we do that. We learn that Artemis is stranded on a sunless world and needs our help to get them back to safety. They also mentioned that they are near strange figures with seeds of glass in their skin. Dope.
Okay.
So we do some stuff. We click X a bunch of times. We boost the signal strength of some arrays, and we get a star chart from Artemis that points out exactly where they're located, hoping that we can kind of reverse triangulate them home. And image 9 is a picture of Artemis.
Oh.
So notably,
Okay.
Artemis doesn't look like any of the 3 aliens that I showed you. That is because Artemis and the rest of the NPCs we're going to talk about are all travelers, which were retconned to be this sort of 4th alien subtype of like indiscriminate traveler.
Sure.
Okay.
And they all look very different. And they're kind of all like insect-y, sort of, but not really. So, cool. So we do that. We take those charts to a nearby space station, and they tell us, "Hey, these charts this place doesn't exist. Like, this isn't real."
Oh.
And we're like, "Shit." So we head back to make contact with Artemis, but we're intercepted by another person. This time is a transmission from someone named Apollo. And Apollo is in image 10.
That's a robot.
Apollo is another traveler.
Oh.
That's a Modron.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Apollo says, hey, have you heard of the Sentinels? The Sentinels are sort of the big bad in this world, kind of like the cops in a GTA. There are, if you're playing the game, there are many planets that have Sentinel activity. And sometimes if you are mining resources or collecting artifacts, digging up artifacts, if you're shooting or killing, pretty much doing anything interacting with the world, these Sentinels will attack you. And they come in waves. Like, again, you have like heat, like you're playing GTA with the cops. And like heat, the wave 1 is like little shitter robots. Then they slowly evolve to like bigger shitter robots, then like walking bipedals or quadrupeds, all the way to like these like massive mech units and, you know, big stompy robots, right? And this is like not all of, but most of the combat in the game, that and fighting space pirates. So they kind of operate as the big bad. And Apollo, this is Apollo's way of introducing you to the Sentinels, but he says whatever's going on is related to the Sentinels. Because the thing about the Sentinels is they live in multiple realities. They they can like transport in and out of this reality, but they live in a separate reality. And we're not going to talk about it because there's a whole bunch of shit about it. It's called the Atlantean. It's also called the World of Glass, and it both exists and doesn't exist. Don't fucking ask me about it.
No, we don't have time for that. That's
link's
nothing.
going to stay blue.
So they're similar in like existence to the anomaly, the space anomaly.
Yeah, kind of.
Like, are they
moment of vulnerability for my friends and for the listeners? This story almost ended me. This one almost broke me because there's so much to this that it is Five Nights at Freddy adjacent in that there's so much to this that's just speculation and just dudes on YouTube connecting yarn to each other on a whiteboard.
The game says it connects and doesn't give you any of the tissue. So people who play games that don't end spun up the connective tissue, and it's as cuckoo bananas as
if you stuck around this long hoping to hear about the Void Mother, the Atlantean, and the World of Glass, I'm so sorry. I'll send you some videos. We have to move on.
You may be entitled to compensation.
So Apollo tells us, hey, let's go shoot up some Sentinels. And you're like, hell yeah, brother. So he leads us through a couple more tutorial quests. This introduces combat. This introduces ground combat, space combat. We upgrade our base with automated defenses. We get a ground crew, all the stuff. We finally infiltrate a Sentinel tower. And this is like, again, we're blowing up the base. So we take down our first Sentinel tower. We loot the base. We run out. We eventually come across an ancient portal construct. Portals are this game's way of flinging you from anywhere in the galaxy to anywhere else in the galaxy. So we go through we press X a bunch of times, we activate the glyphs, we turn on the portal, and it shoots us far away to an unknown planet. So we kind of are just wandering around without our spaceship, without any communications, and we are transported to an Atlas interface. Remember Atlas? You do, but this is different. This is post-Atlas, or this is post-Artemis Atlas. So this Atlas interface talks a lot more pointedly and not in riddles, in enigmatic riddles. This Atlas interface says you have two choices. You can either perform a diagnostic on the system or wipe it completely. Trick question. It doesn't matter what you pick because regardless, it will eject us from the interface and teleport us off to an entirely new planet.
Perfect.
Dope.
Great.
So we've made contact with the Atlas. What does it all mean? Hard to say. We finally find our ship. We intercept the transmission. That transmission is coordinates to a grave. We find that grave, and it is labeled Artemis.
Oh.
So it is at this point we're like, what the fuck? According to the mission log, it says, I have no idea if Artemis was alive when we spoke or if they ever were. Meaning,
Cool.
What are these transmissions? Were these pre-recorded? Has this person long been dead? Did they just die? Am I being tricked, right? Like, again, we've only communicated with this person in holograms and transmissions. So like, what's real at this point? We try to make contact with Apollo, but we're intercepted by player 3 joins the game. Another mysterious entity. This person introduces themselves as simply Null. Image 11 and the final image is of Null. Null is a little bit hard to parse out. They're just like, their head is a big light bulb with like swirling metallic rods.
It looks like a headset.
Looks like the Napster logo.
It kind of looks like the Napster logo. It's like headphones and a mouthpiece on a light ball.
And it's hard because those aren't static. Those like rotate around. So it's more like a globe of light.
Yeah.
It's just hard to parse it out in an image.
Okay.
Yeah. But it's cool design. So Null says, don't worry, we can restore Artemis. I'm going to walk you through building something called a mind arc. Once you do that, you can store Artemis's consciousness on it because we can take their consciousness from these holographic transmissions, I guess. So we get a bunch of materials and we follow the blueprints.
Listener, if anyone ever tells you that they can tell you how to build a mind arc to save your dead best friend, don't do it.
No.
Yeah, you probably don't want to do it.
Don't build the mind arc.
But the tutorial tells us to do it, so we must.
We can't say that enough, listeners. Don't build the mind arc.
Unless there's a tutorial prompt that tells you to build a mind arc, then don't build a mind arc. So we build the mind arc.
So we build the mind arc. So you built a mind arc.
It's really good. And we take the mind arc back to the anomaly, which has Artemis's consciousness stored in it. We show Nada. Remember Nada at the space anomaly, who's like, Artemis was our friend. We show it to Nada, and they're like, oh my god, this is amazing. I haven't seen Artemis in so long. I'm really excited to see my friend. However, we shouldn't do this. And so Nada explains, so the way this works is we can inject this into a computer, into our master computer, where Artemis can live. However, it is within the confines of this simulated reality within this master computer. Okay.
Yep.
And they're like, they'll have a full life. We can talk to them and they can, but the problem is they are an explorer. They are a traveler just like you. Their whole thing is to be unbound. And I do not believe it would be a mercy to trap them in this simulated reality. This will be important later.
What if that simulated reality has 15 quintillion unique planets for them to explore?
Now you're asking the right questions, Kyle.
Okay. All right.
See what we're doing here?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
This is Five Nights at Freddy's adjacent.
Because Kyle, learning that we live inside a simulated world would pretty much erode any sense of freedom or reality, right?
Yeah. How could we be free if everything around us is generated in a computer?
Exactly. Hold on to that thought. So we have a choice to make. We can either save Artemis, quote unquote, and upload them into the simulation, or free them, quote unquote, by releasing their consciousness and effectively letting them die. We make our choice and we tell Apollo. And Apollo, we discuss the morality of the decision. And Apollo's like, well, I understand what you did. While we're talking, we find coordinates for a portal. And part of this we kind of learned. So portals are a way, like a gameplay mechanic where you can have people come to where you are. Basically, that's how you meet up. And you find a portal. You have to buy an item. You find a portal that spawns on the world. And then there are 16 glyphs, and there's an address for each portal. And these are very real things, real gameplay things. This is how the game teaches us about portals. So we share the glyphs, we share the address with our friend Apollo, and we're like, hey, come and meet us. We're going to hang out in No Man's Sky in the same place.
Oh,
It's all we've wanted.
It's all we've
Do you
wanted.
see what we're doing here?
I do see what we are doing here.
Uh-huh. So we do that. We press X a bunch of times, and Apollo goes through the portal. And he's like, hey, I'm here. Where are you? And you're like, I'm here. Where are you? And at this point, it's like, well, that's weird. Why isn't Apollo here? That's so weird. And it's just kind of left hanging. Like, we don't really have an answer for that. Because at that point, he goes, you know what? I don't know what's going on, but
we're not here.
So I guess
We're there.
Talk to you later. So we make contact with Null, and Null is generally questioning the reality of this world. They sent us on a series of quests with a representative from each of the 3 alien species to have us learn more about their backstory. And this is important. This feels like a distraction, but it's important. I'm going to go through each of these. So we start with the Vy'keen. These are the big gorilla men with balls for chin. We learn that they started as a noble race of warriors, kind of like as they are now, but much more organized. But upon discovery of the Sentinels, they declared war on the Sentinels, saying, hey, this is bad juju. Like this evil robot, like this senseless robot army, like we need to get rid of them. They realized that at one point the Sentinels were like followers of Atlas, but they kind of has since gone rogue, and they're just like, this is bad shit. From the Gek, we learned, also to answer the original question, well, the Gek, we learned that their species was once the dominant force of the galaxy. So whoever said it was the Gek was
that was a Todd.
The enslavers.
I think
that was Todd.
That was a Todd.
The
That was
ones
a
you
Todd
least
call.
expect.
Ding ding. The Gek first spawn was a incredibly cruel group of conquerors who subjugated the entire galaxy, most notably the Korvax. So ding ding, who guessed Korvax? They subjugated the Korvax into slavery. The Gek mined the entire home world of the Korvax Prime, completely dry of resources. There's like log entries where you can see where they like forced them to take off their helmets, and like it is assumed that at this point the Korvax were actually organic and became like basically like evolved to be synthetic. But like would make them remove their helmets as like a sign of oppression basically. And they after bleeding their homeworld dry, they destroyed Korvax Prime along with millions and millions of Korvax.
Oh.
And from the Korvax, we learned that after the destruction of their homeworld, they then worked with the Sentinels to get revenge on the Gek. And this is what I think the coolest part of this is. Korvax were being enslaved in like the mines of random planets. Korvax figured out like they actually like would kamikaze themselves and bleed out their synthetic blood into Gek breeding pods. Their blood being full of thousands of these things called nanite pods. Interesting point. Nanite bits is a currency in the game that you are throughout until this point, 30 hours in, you're constantly getting nanite bits to like get blueprints and all these things. And you learn these nanites are the like decades old or eons old blood cells of the Sentinels that were injected into the Korvax and then bled out into Gek spawning pools to literally rewrite their genetic code.
Great.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So the Korvax rewrote the genetic code of the Gek to turn them into the non-violent,
to
docile,
turn them into little guys.
Okay.
More interestingly, something in that code also prevented the Gek from being interested in or wanting to learn about their history. to the point that only 4% of the Gek even know about their history of the first spawn.
Okay.
All right.
So, like, okay, pretty
Yeah.
cool. We talked to Null, who says, like, you knew all of this already, right? And they're like, yeah, I knew all of this. And this is where we get our exposition dump. So the Atlas created this entire reality. You may have guessed at this point, this is a simulated reality. We live in a simulation created by the Atlas. Not only that, the Atlas has created many, many, many other simulated galaxies or simulated universes, and is constantly creating and running new simulations all the time.
Approximately equal to the number of concurrent players on
Yep.
No
Yep.
Man's
there
Sky.
it is.
Yeah.
Exactly. The Atlas created the Travelers, and along with Artemis, Apollo, and Null, we are all among them, the Travelers. The Travelers were created as a sort of an avatar for the Atlas. There's other story that we're not going to get into, but the Atlas, it is assumed that the Atlas was created by humans, or it's thought the Atlas was created by humans, and the Atlas then in turn created the avatar of this world in their God's image, being human.
So it's not even like a metaphor for the game existing. It's just like a thin layer of lore over the existence of the game.
So
Well,
funny.
Hold on, Kyle. There's an ARG coming, so don't.
Oh, jeez.
Oh,
Oh,
jeez.
jeez. If they come out with like a machine that you have to hold on to in the ARG to figure out how many bits are in your blood or something, I think we go back in that cold direction again.
The blood bits.
The blood bits. So our friend Null was the very first traveler and has been around for a very, very long time. Null, in their simulation, explored every inch of their known universe and did so through questionable means in order to stay alive, which they never really reveal. They just tell you a lot. I did some stuff, man.
Wow.
After exploring the entire universe, they made contact with Atlas and was like, "Aren't you proud of me, Dad?" and Atlas was like, "I have no son."
Good.
And this basically fucks up Null for the rest. And the image that I have in here is something that they say, which is, "Why won't it speak to me? Why aren't I enough?" Because Null has daddy issues with the Atlas.
Of course. You can't make a game in the 2010s without giving a main character daddy issues.
That's right, Kyle.
Yeah. Even if that main character is a flashlight.
So we learned that there is something wrong with Atlas. It's not enough that we live in a simulation, but the problem is the fabric between these universes is fading. The fact that now travelers, there's only supposed to be one traveler in every universe, but we have the space anomaly and multiplayer and other ways where like travelers can meet each other, meaning the fabric between this multiverse is fading. The Atlas is dying. But we don't exactly know what's wrong. We just know we don't what that means. Mm-hmm. So who else to find out but from Atlas themselves? So we make contact with Atlas once again, and we confront it with the knowledge that we know that we're in a simulated reality. And the Atlas is like, "Does that make you angry?" And you're like, "Yeah, kinda." And the Atlas explains that it has seen its own death, and it tells us that all of the simulated realities will die in 16 minutes.
16 minutes?
Oh. Okay.
Now, this is where we have to pivot to Einstein's theory of relativity.
Shut up.
Oh my God.
Andrew, I'm starting to see how this broke you.
This broke me!
Man.
So, Einstein's theory of relativity says that time experienced in a vacuum by the individual doesn't necessarily equate to time experienced by someone outside of the vacuum. In other words, if you experience 1 minute in a black hole, that is not necessarily 1 Earth minute. That could be years, millennia for somebody outside of the black hole.
See the movie
Makes sense.
Interstellar to
See also the movie Interstellar.
Yeah.
Sure.
So 16 minutes for the Atlas could very well be a millennia here in the simulated reality. And that's what Apollo tells us when we call our friends and say, holy shit, there's 16 minutes to the universe to live. And also, so we eventually contact Apollo. Apollo's like, hey, remember that Einstein's theory of relativity exists. He doesn't actually say that, but that's what the YouTube videos will tell you. He says, regardless of how much time we have, I'm just grateful that I found a friend, and good luck out there.
They built in their own, like, here's the animation we run when we shut the servers down. Finally, whenever we close the servers, here's the in-game explanation for it.
It's not unlike destroying the entire world with a meteor and then blowing it up and then coming back 5 years later.
Yep. Hey, they just
gameplay mechanics for relaunches are kind of fun.
They built in a backdoor doomsday device. Good on them.
That's right. We also talked to Null, and Null says, please don't go to the center. Oh, that's the other thing. Atlas says, hey, meet me in the center of the universe. Okay, thanks, bye. And Atlas is like, I'm going to reset the simulation. And Null says, please don't do that. I know so much. I don't want to lose everything. And you're like, sucks to suck. I'm going to do it anyway.
That's Null begging that he doesn't want to die.
Yeah.
And you're like, nah.
So we do the thing because the tutorial says we got to do it. So we head closer and closer to the center of the galaxy. Each time we warp, we get a new portal glyph. There are 16. 16 is a recurring number throughout this game. You may have caught that. You may not have.
Sure, man. Who
Finally,
cares?
we complete the series of glyphs, and we find the portal that launches us to the center of the galaxy. We end up on another planet where we're then transported again to an Atlas interface for the last time. And we meet Atlas, and it says, do you want to reset the simulation, yes or no? And this is an inflection point. This is not really a story implication, but it's actually a gameplay implication. Because if you say yes, what Atlas does is it basically opens up an entirely different mechanic, which is the ability to go from galaxy to galaxy. Because you can just do that in No Man's Sky, and different galaxies have different makeups. The galaxies are set. So everybody starts on the same galaxy called Euclid. And many players who play this game never leave Euclid. Euclid is like the most balanced galaxy. But if you say yes and say reset the galaxy, you're actually given an option of 4 different galaxies. You're given a Mass Effect option. It's either the red galaxy, the blue galaxy, the yellow galaxy, or the green galaxy.
Yeah, man.
But they each have different makeups, and most people, and I had a wiki on the side of this whole time. Most people pick the lush green galaxy because it's the most paradise planets, which means the most prettiest planets to build bases on.
Cool.
But you can also go to the red galaxy if you want to get a bunch of planets to mine resources. So this is all like a gameplay thing. But story-wise, if you reset the galaxy, you have reset the simulation. If you don't, you're gone. You're set back to Euclid, and you can never leave.
Oh, okay.
Interestingly enough, so I reset the galaxy, because of course I did, because you have to. And interestingly enough, if you go and visit Nada and Polo, who have also been reset, you talk to Nada, and Nada's like, "Hey, it's really nice to meet you for the first time. Please don't tell me anything else." Because again, Nada believes more than anything else, it would kind of be a living hell to know that you're in a simulated reality, and I really need you to not tell me that. Thank you.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, we love a well-communicated boundary. We really do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, and the whole storyline comes from this ARG called The Walking Titan, which is set in present day about a conglomerate company named Atlas Corp, who designed a series of AIs for testing simulation theory, which is aimed at combining the supercomputer's power to develop a highly complex simulation that will match or even transcend the complexity of our universe. And we're not going to talk about it. I'm so sorry.
Whoa.
There's an ARG that came out in 2017, and I don't want to talk about it.
I'm so stuck on the obviously, sorry, I'm not trying to wrap this up for you, but this is where I'm at.
Nah, this is it. We're done.
That simultaneously, obviously, launch was bad. Launch was bad. And it feels like after everything I guess this is the question. Everything they pumped into it has continued to build on the story, question mark? Like, is that what we've
No.
learned? Okay, no.
So not really.
Just fun set dressing with
just
space
fun
truckers.
toys. Yeah, it's
Okay.
just more. It's more deep space truck. Deep space truck.
Then I retract everything I was gonna say.
No.
What I was gonna
No, you're
say
good,
was
you're
it
good.
feels like they got into the air and started doing a whole bunch of flips, and then
No,
they're like,
so
we do
here's-
have to stick the landing. And
Here's
they
what happened.
maybe did.
So in early 2017, Hello Games released this ARG called Walking Titan, and it is a series of like internet activities. It's not very good. It really isn't. It's just stuff to do.
Yeah.
But it unlocks a couple like FMV videos that are. It's like this woman named Elizabeth who works for Atlas Corps in present day Earth, who
Sure.
and the whole thing is like they're developing the Atlas, and what this was intended to do was to give an answer on what the heck the Atlas is. That's kind of it. It's basically the story is we on Earth created the Atlas supercomputer, which years later was abandoned and just was left to run on its own devices, and eventually decayed over time and dealt with its own existential crisis of why was I created, why was I abandoned, and then injected that into its simulated realities. Another piece that I do think is interesting is Atlas had an entire like universe's library of alien races, and over time the simulations started to merge together, and those three alien races ended up on top every single time. So over time, the corroding or the eroding of the simulation basically hard coded where like there are only three alien races, which is the game's way of answering we
Why
didn't
are
make
there
more
only
aliens.
three?
Shut up.
Yeah, why are there only three races I can
'Cause the
play as in
simulation says
this
so.
world? Yeah.
This whole story was created and released in 2017, and it goes, and again, it's mostly intended to take you through the major features of the game that they added in 2017.
Mm-hmm.
There is another piece to this when they added 5 years later, they added the Sentinel stuff. The Sentinel stuff is the Atlantean and the World of Glass and the Void Mother and all the other like nonsense shit that it hasn't been developed yet because it's all in like garbled data entries. That's for the freaks to do YouTube videos about, but like I literally can't.
Yeah.
So the answer to your question is most of the focus of this game is just add more sandbox. There's toys to the sandbox.
Okay, that's
All
and
right.
that is I maybe like that better because
It's so much better.
what I was thinking
Can't stress
for a
how much
second
better
was
that is.
like, did they have the whole story fleshed out? They did. Story's weird. It feels like maybe people don't care about the story.
That's correct.
They're there.
There are
they're
a few YouTube content creators that love it, and it's there.
everyone else is
It's-
doing space crimes.
It's the perfect amount of story to put in your do anything you want game so
Yeah.
that
Exactly.
the people who the thing they want is to find the story have these harebrained theories to
Mhm.
chase.
Yeah.
And they don't need to close any of these open
Exactly.
stories
It's like,
because
why
it
do
just gives those people more to do in the game.
It's
Yeah.
books in Elder Scrolls, right? Like it's for
yeah.
somebody.
It's for
Yeah.
somebody. And every few months or years or whatever, they can put some more story threads that go nowhere in there for
Mhm.
those people to chase and make more YouTube content about. It's the perfect business plan.
The thing that I keep coming back to, and it is the one time in this episode that I'm going to talk about High Guard at length.
Hell yeah.
The thing that I keep coming back to is that No Man's Sky became what it is today because it got more than 90 days to try and make something happen.
Mhm.
Knowing that this game launched and then the studio just like went quiet for 3 months is
Couldn't happen today.
truly
no
something that couldn't
chance.
happen today.
Nope.
The development cycle of No Man's Sky is not dissimilar from the development cycle of High Guard, where like you had this small team that was financially backed by a different company who, as soon as the numbers didn't hit on day one of launch, it all got rug pulled out from underneath and yada, 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 a bunch of other stuff that's not important. But
Yeah.
the High Guard was online for 45 days. I think Concord was online for 14 days. And No Man's Sky got to just like stumble its way across the line. And
were those
that
both,
is why it was able to get good, you know?
Were those both indie studios, or were they like owned
I think
by...
the difference is, I'm pretty sure the difference, Matt, correct me if I'm wrong, but those were that server space was being owned and operated by the publisher, which is like Sony published, I think it's Sony, like Sony owned Concord.
Yeah, I know less about Concord. I know that the dev team behind High Guard was like technically indie. It was Wildlight Studios, but it was backed by Tencent.
Sure,
mega conglomerate. Tencent,
I was gonna say that's the difference here. Is like if Hello Games has final say over their servers, they get to say we're not closing the game.
I mean,
Tencent,
that's
Tencent is
kind
like
of the difference, right?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
it's an interesting what if, right? Because, I think if Hello Games, if Sean Murray says, you know what, Sony, you guys do all the press and the promotion, and you guys will do the commercialization, and it's No Man's Sky is a PS4 exclusive produced by Sony Computer Online Entertainment. That probably addresses a lot of the pre-launch mess, but it doesn't change the game.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it doesn't change the fact that the game launched kind of with nothing to do. And I actually, in my reading, somebody at Polygon had commented and said, I bet in 2016 I could see this being like a Destiny where like give it a year to cook, come back to it. And they were right.
Yeah.
They're 100% right. And I think if this is a Sony SCEA presents No Man's Sky, they're not getting a 3-month patch.
Yeah.
No way.
I think
So,
that is probably the key difference here is just like Hello Games got to say we're not shutting our servers down.
Yep.
Tencent and Sony would not have extended them that grace.
No, they would have moved on to Concord.
Yeah.
The Last of Us 2. Closing thoughts here. I highly encourage pretty much anybody to play this game, frankly. I think the best thing I can say about it is if you like exploration, man, I don't think there's a better game, honestly. I don't think there's a better game for this. The worst thing I can say about it is it can be overwhelming. And if you're like Matt Cole and you don't love menuing, or if you are the kind of person, and it's not a lot of menuing, I'm making a joke, but if you're the kind of person that needs specific objectives and gets overwhelmed, maybe this isn't the one for you. But anyone else, definitely give it a shot. I do think it's still on Game Pass, although I spoiler, haven't had I got rid of Game Pass a while ago.
Whoa, that's crazy. That's
paying
big
the
news.
rasuals.
Yeah, the royalties stopped coming in. That's how I originally played it, which is why I purchased it on Steam a couple months ago. But I think it's on sale, or maybe it just ended on sale as of this recording. It's so much for $40, man, or
yeah,
$40,
it's a
$50.
10-year-old game. Like,
you get a lot of content. Like, try it out. That's it.
Neat.
Hell yeah.
Thanks for listening.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening. Y'all can follow along with the arguments on all the stuff at Debate This Cast or on our website at debatethiscast.com. And hey, if you want to commission your own flavor text and see if you can break me, try. Bet you can. Head on over to Patreon. Dare you to break my brain. Head on over to patreon.com unless your handle is Zakix or Squirrelmancer, you will break me. Don't worry about it. Head on over to patreon.com/debatethiscast. A one-time payment of $60 will allow you to dictate whatever shit we talk about next. Until next time, I'm Andrew Henderson.
I'm Todd No Man's Sky, aka the space flight of 2016 Thomas.
I'm Matt. Just keep deep space trucking on, Cole.
And I'm Kyle. No Spider-Man Sky into the Spider-Verse, Harper.
And we're saying thanks for debating with us. And if you think we're wrong, you can come fight us behind the swing sets, nerds.
What was that? What
I
happened?
don't know. There can only be one traveler in a universe. There can only be one Spider-Man in a universe thing.
Sure.
No, it's Spider-Man.
it's
Into the Spider-Verse.